Have you seen this trend about guys that are picking up hobbies to attract women?
What?
Yeah, you know how like the macho thing is kind of out these days. It's not so cool to be a macho man anymore. So these hobbies that they're usually picking up are things like pottery, creative writing. They're trying to attract the mate they think would be interested in those particular hobbies.
Can you hear my eye roll? Oh, I wanted to ask you that. I had a great place to start here. And I know I'm going to cause some controversy.
I love it already.
Yeah. Do you have that performer that no matter how good their songs are, no matter how popular they are, you just don't get? And I'm not saying they're bad, and I'm not saying that you hate them.
Yeah.
You just don't get. Like, I'll be straight up honest. Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, and the Beatles are on my list.
The Beatles?
Yeah, I don't.
Get right out of town.
So I don't hate them. It's not even that I don't necessarily don't like that. I just don't get their appeal, I guess is what it is.
Yeah, the first one that came to mind to me was Drake. Isn't he like the biggest selling artist of all time?
He is.
And I like a handful of Drake songs. But
don't get it.
I don't understand how he's the best. He's beat Michael Jackson? What?
Right.
Drake did? The guy everybody's throwing shade at? He's the one that beat Michael Jackson? I just don't understand it. And the queen, Beyonce, I think she's incredibly talented. I just don't understand how Beyonce became Beyonce. You know what I mean? Like, she's a huge deal, and I think she's incredibly talented, but I don't know that she's that far ahead of other people. You know what I mean? Like, what makes her in Beyonce level where everybody wants to... She's queen.
And here's the reason I ask this, too, because if you ask these people that get it, okay, they really don't have a strong answer as to why they get it.
I think if you just like a person, you like a person. Because when you said that, it reminded me of people like me trying to justify why my friends are like, why do you like that guy?
Right.
And then I tried to put it into words.
And
they're like, wow, that's it? And I'm like, well, he just has like a thing. There's just like a thing about him that I can't really explain, but like, it's just like a thing.
Well, and the other reason I wanted to bring this up is I think, so many times when you are especially for radio, I think people think that you just like all of it. And there's stuff that you understand it. And maybe you even say, okay, that's a pretty good song, but you still just don't get the attraction to that artist or band.
Yes. There are a lot of songs that come out that I'm just like, yep, that'll do well on radio. Because it's a catchy song. And I can see why. I mean, it's making you bob your head. That doesn't mean I necessarily like it, but I understand why it's popular.
This goes all the way back to grade school for me. And again, I'm not knocking the band, okay? I know it sounds like I am, but Journey. I never understood why all the girls back in grade school had this amazing crush on Steve Perry.
Have you seen his hair? I'll answer that for you right now.
But have you seen his face?
Have you seen his hair?
But have you seen his face? Just because he's singing Love and Touch and Squeezing, and I'm like, how? Why? I didn't get it.
I still have a friend to this very day. Still got a crush on him. Posted about it maybe a week ago.
Are you kidding me?
And I was like, I can't deny it. I kind of want to run my fingers through that hair.
Wow.
It's so good.
I will never understand.
Okay. Well, I'm on the same page with you about artists that I think are maybe
okay, at least,
big.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, it's not that we're slamming them.
No.
You just don't get the attraction.
I don't get it. But different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you seen this trend about guys that are picking up hobbies to attract women?
What?
Attraction hobbies to get dates.
So wait, they've never done this before, but now if they figure they do this hobby, they'll get dates? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, you know how like the macho thing is kind of out these days. It's not so cool to be a macho man anymore. So these hobbies that they're usually picking up are things like pottery, creative writing, things like that, watercolors. They're trying to attract the mate they think would be interested in those particular hobbies.
Can you hear my eye roll?
You don't think this is going to work?
Here's the thing. I think a hobby is something that you really have to enjoy. So if that is what
Maybe
you
they really enjoy it,
that's what I'm
though.
saying. If it is, then yeah, I think that will work. If this is something you're just doing because, hey, I think this girl might like it, that's not going to work because it's just not going to, you're not going to be able to sustain it.
Well,
There's
you're not going to
way.
keep it up. I assume it's something that you actually kind of like doing, at least a little bit, or you'd pick a different one. I mean, there's a million of those kind of
creative
hobbies.
writing is listed.
It's listed.
Creative writing?
I know some people that like to write. I don't like it enough to get into a class about it, but pottery, I understand it. I was looking for a hobby because I did want to meet a new community of people. So I think hobbies are, in general, a way to do that, especially when you're hitting your 40s or whatever, when you're not you only meet people at work. Basically, maybe at church if you go to church, something like that. But there's not a lot of people that you're not meeting new communities anymore. So if you're a person that wants to do that, the only way I found to do it was to find a hobby.
Okay, when you bring it up with the community thing, that makes 100% sense.
Yes, I'm not necessarily looking for a man in my hobby, but I wouldn't have hated it. And there are other love stories in the pottery. There are people that have met.
Just out of curiosity, how many men were in your pottery class?
3.
Okay.
Just in my class. I think there was 8 of us. So almost half.
Okay, well, that's actually not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yes, I would say there are more female potters than male, but there are a good amount of male potters. They're just usually a little older and married.
I will say, now that you've brought this up, we had so much fun doing that glass blowing.
Yeah.
Now, see, I would pick that hobby up just to pick that hobby up.
It would be fun.
So if that is kind of what they're saying, and then in turn they get a date out of it, okay. But if you're just going, I'm going to throw this out there and see if I get a date.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it depends person to person what their motivations are. But I don't think that this is the worst strategy for meeting people. If you're interested in a creative hobby and you think, maybe I'll meet another person there. Because that was kind of it didn't pan out for me that way, but I love the community. The community of potters is fantastic. Sometimes people just go in there and sit and chat and they don't do anything. They just come to chat with the other potters.
Okay. Then maybe, for the social interaction. Okay. I get it.
Okay. So maybe.
But I don't like it as here, let's do this for my dating profile.
Well, no, and there is another entirely. There's a performative male meme, which is like the flip side of this that's going on TikTok, where people are making fun of people who are going out and doing this as a performative action rather than something that they're really into.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
So a lot of people see it from your perspective. But from my perspective, hey, man, maybe you'll find a hobby you really like and maybe you'll meet a mate. I don't think it's the worst idea. I wouldn't feel duped if I found a guy in my pottery class that was really kind of just in it for the chicks.
See, that's where if you're in it for the pottery because that's what you want to do, then I'm totally on board with that. If you're in it because you're trying to meet somebody for a date, then I have a little bit of an issue with it. I'm just saying.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Okay, whatever.
Something else you want to discuss?
Yes, Easter.
Okay.
Why is this the only holiday that doesn't have its day?
What do you mean?
Well, we know Christmas is December 25th.
Oh, you mean it moves around?
We know when Thanksgiving is. Why does Easter move around? We never know exactly what Sunday it's going to be. Why?
That's true. Why do we move it?
That's what I'm saying. Can't we just say it's this day?
Is it because, we don't really know when Christmas happened either. We're making that up. I'm like, I guess because we don't know when Easter is, so we're like, we'll just arbitrary. I'm sure this is some ancient calendar or Greek Orthodox thing or something or other. If I looked it up, I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know, Jeff. It's really inconvenient for me. I have to look it up every year.
Let's really minimize it so bad. Frickin' Valentine's has every February 14th. Done, doesn't move. Easter moves all over the calendar.
So when do you want Easter to be?
I actually like it like the first or second Sunday in April. So pick one of those and then bam, stay with it.
Do you guys do anything for Easter?
Well, we have a big family gathering and, we do the ham and the funeral potatoes and that kind of stuff.
Funeral potatoes?
Yeah, funeral potatoes.
What are funeral potatoes?
Well, I mean, it's basically like a potato casserole, okay?
Okay. Funeral potatoes at Easter seems really ironic, but okay.
Well, we are celebrating He has risen, but there had to be a funeral first. No, I mean, have you never heard of funeral potatoes?
I think you eat the funeral potatoes 3 days later. 3 days before. How's that work?
No, 3 days before. He rose 3 days later. Now you're getting it right. Okay. Well, anyway, and then we do like an Easter egg hunt for the kids.
Okay, here's my question. I gotta look this up. What do you put in those Easter eggs? First of all, are you doing real eggs? Because that's gross.
No.
Okay.
Did that one time and we didn't find them all, and no. So we do plastic eggs.
Everybody learns that lesson once.
Oh, man, it is bad. And even though we did the hunt outside, it was still bad. I thought like animals were dying because of the smell. I'm serious.
Ew. I just ended up with weird colored egg salad for a while.
I don't even want to know about what it does to your... Never mind. Why is it green? Anyway, those robin eggs, I think they're like malt balls. They're one of my favorites.
I'm not big on the malt. You can keep your malt.
So good. But I mean, if you do like Starburst and Skittles and Kit Kats and Twix, those are all really good.
Oh my gosh, here they are. These freaking eggs right here. Do you remember they have like sugar on the outside and like sugar on the inside?
No, I am not a fan of those.
Okay.
That is a disgusting thing.
That's the kind that my grandma used to hide in her backyard because they don't melt. And you don't have to put them in anything. They just look like eggs already, and they stay stable. So I get why she picked them. And if you want a mouthful of just complete sugar, you could just get a spoonful of sugar, or you could eat one of those eggs.
The scary thing is you said they don't like disintegrate or anything.
What if
you got one from last year? Oh, my God.
I mean, I probably wouldn't notice.
Well, I mean, I know the ants would be all over it, but still.
Do you know where the best hiding spot is?
Where?
I mean, like, is there a particular spot that they're like, that you put it that you're like, that's the one they're never going to find?
Yes. In fact,
where is it, Jeff?
My grandkids are 15 and 16 respectfully, okay? They still love to do Easter egg hunts.
Well, who doesn't?
And we still love, and every year there's the one hiding spot, and I'm not going to tell you here, but the one spot they never find.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They listen to the podcast
Yeah, they
sometimes.
listen to the podcast.
All right, well, we can't give it away. Grandma's, Netha, if you're listening, it's above the floodlight. She puts it above the floodlight, and that's always the one where I'm like, they're never going to find it there. Easter egg hunts are fun. We should do them more often. We should just hide random things in eggs that we need anyway and just make it more fun because you get to do the hunt.
I wonder if I should bring some in Friday.
I've got some. I can bring them in. Let's do a hunt.
This drops Friday because we're recording here.
Yeah, but let's do a hunt.
Okay, I'll bring some in.
I love everything about that.
All right.
My niece came over the other day and I was like, I could have just given you your snacks, but instead I've hidden them in eggs all over the house. You have 12 eggs. Go.
One year we did a giant Easter egg hunt for our listeners here at the studio. And I just threw them out, so you didn't have to hunt. I just threw them out in the yard. And it was limited to 1 egg per person. But they had like free oil changes and cash and dinners and movies. So that was kind of fun.
We need to plan better for our Easters.
I know, right?
Right, well, maybe next year.
Again, going back to how this whole thing started. If we knew when Easter was and you didn't move it around the dang calendar.
We could have solved this whole problem if we just knew when it was even happening.
Can't plan for it when you don't know when it is. And you wake up and go, oh, it's this Sunday.
I have something totally different, Jeff. I just need some advice.
Oh, okay.
I got invited to do like a panel at this little podcast mastermind thing I'm going to, and I've got some imposter syndrome about it. So you got any advice for me on how to speak to groups that are
Yeah, because what I want to say is first of all, you're not an imposter. I know what you're saying about, the imposter syndrome is you feel like that you don't belong at a place and you're an imposter, so that's why you're there. You're not.
Yeah, I mean, I have to reframe as if I wasn't supposed to be in the room, I wouldn't have been invited into the room.
Thank you.
So I try to keep that in mind.
And even more, if you weren't really that important to the event or whatever, then they wouldn't have asked you to do what you're going to do.
I'm only human though, Jeff, and I'm insecure about it. And I know that everybody in there has a college degree, and I do not. I didn't finish. I'm in remedial math still. Again, to this day.
We have talked about this a lot, and I usually get on to you about it because you're like, I'm not that well educated. Well, if those people are well educated, then they need to be smart enough to realize that sometimes hearing from a completely different viewpoint is actually smart because you'll learn something regardless of how well educated you are.
And I will have a totally different view.
Yeah, I do.
Like, how'd she even get there? Are we having the same conversation?
Yeah. You're going to turn into a fish? What is it? No, here's the deal. I tell you more times than I really want to that you have to stop making sense, and I hate it when you're right. So give yourself more props. You're not an imposter.
Okay.
You deserve to be there.
Here's the pathetic thing about it, though, Jeff, is I don't even have to present answers. What I've been asked to present is a problem to pitch to the group so everybody can brainstorm and solve my problems for me.
Even better.
So the point here is to not be well educated.
If anybody can bring a problem, it's you.